A recently discovered vulnerability in Microsoft's OneDrive File Picker could expose users' entire cloud storage to unauthorized access, raising serious concerns about data privacy. This flaw, reported on May 28, 2025, highlights critical issues with how permissions are managed in popular applications. Cybersecurity researchers from the Oasis Research Team found that the OneDrive File Picker requests excessive permissions through OAuth, allowing apps to access more data than necessary. This is particularly alarming because it affects multiple widely used applications, including ChatGPT, Slack, Trello, and ClickUp. The vague consent screens presented to users further complicate the issue, failing to clearly communicate the extent of access being granted. In this video, we'll delve into the details of this vulnerability, its implications, and what users can do to protect themselves in light of these findings. If you find this update helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to InfoSec Now for the latest cybersecurity news. Your support really helps us continue building useful content for cybersecurity professionals. If you found this update helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to InfoSec Now for the latest cybersecurity news. Your support really helps us continue building useful content for cybersecurity professionals. In the wake of the discovery of the OneDrive File Picker vulnerability, experts are emphasizing the implications of OAuth scope management in application security. The flaw is primarily attributed to the excessive permissions requested by the OneDrive File Picker, which allows applications to gain read access to an entire user's cloud storage instead of just the selected files. This oversight presents a significant risk, particularly for popular applications like ChatGPT, Slack, Trello, and ClickUp, which rely on Microsoft's cloud services. The Oasis Research Team highlighted that the vague consent screens presented to users fail to adequately communicate the extent of access being granted. This lack of clarity can lead users to unknowingly authorize applications with excessive permissions, creating a potential pathway for malicious actors to exploit sensitive data. The researchers further noted that the current implementation of OAuth tokens is concerning, as these tokens are often stored insecurely in browser session storage in plaintext, making them susceptible to theft. Moreover, the vulnerability is exacerbated by the use of refresh tokens, which allow applications to maintain access to user data without requiring repeated user consent. This could lead to prolonged exposure of sensitive information, heightening the risk of unauthorized access. In response to the vulnerability, Microsoft has acknowledged the issue but has yet to implement a fix. The company has suggested that users consider temporarily disabling file uploads via OneDrive until a more secure solution is developed. This situation underscores the necessity for organizations to conduct regular security assessments and implement robust monitoring practices to safeguard user data against emerging threats. The incident serves as a critical reminder of the importance of transparency in application permissions and the need for continuous improvement in security protocols to protect both individual and enterprise users from potential data breaches. The implications of the OneDrive File Picker vulnerability extend beyond immediate data exposure, posing significant risks to user trust and application integrity. As applications like ChatGPT, Slack, Trello, and ClickUp integrate with OneDrive, the potential for widespread data breaches increases, particularly if users are unaware of the permissions they are granting. This lack of clarity can lead to a situation where users inadvertently compromise sensitive information, prompting a re-evaluation of how applications communicate their data access needs. Furthermore, the reliance on overly broad OAuth scopes presents a systemic issue in application security. Developers may prioritize functionality over security, resulting in applications that request excessive permissions. This practice not only undermines user confidence but can also lead to compliance violations, especially for organizations subject to data protection regulations like GDPR or HIPAA. The consequences of failing to adhere to these regulations can be severe, including hefty fines and reputational damage. The security community is calling for a shift in how OAuth permissions are structured, advocating for more granular access controls that empower users to make informed choices about their data. This could involve developing clearer consent interfaces that accurately reflect the level of access being requested. By adopting these practices, developers can enhance user awareness and foster a culture of security. In the interim, users are advised to exercise caution when using applications that rely on OneDrive for file uploads. The recommendation to avoid using refresh tokens is particularly critical, as this could prevent continuous access to sensitive data without user intervention. As the situation develops, Ongoing scrutiny will be essential to ensure that both Microsoft and third-party developers prioritize user security in their future updates. Ultimately, this incident serves as a stark reminder of the vulnerabilities inherent in cloud services and the importance of robust security protocols. Users, developers, and service providers must work collaboratively to create a safer digital environment, where data privacy is a fundamental priority rather than an afterthought. As Microsoft navigates the implications of the OneDrive File Picker vulnerability, several critical next steps are essential for both the company and its users. First and foremost, Microsoft needs to prioritize the development of a robust fix that addresses the excessive permissions linked to the OneDrive File Picker. This includes implementing fine-grained OAuth scopes, which would allow users to grant access only to specific files rather than their entire cloud storage. In the interim, users are encouraged to exercise caution. This could involve temporarily refraining from using applications integrated with OneDrive for file uploads, particularly those known to request broad permissions. Additionally, users should review the permissions granted to applications and consider revoking access for those that seem to request more data than necessary. For developers of third-party applications, it is crucial to reassess how they manage OAuth permissions. Adopting more stringent permission requests and enhancing transparency in user consent prompts can mitigate risks. Developers should also consider implementing secure storage practices for OAuth tokens, ensuring they are not left vulnerable in plaintext formats. Moreover, Microsoft's acknowledgement of the issue is a positive step, but it must be accompanied by a commitment to user education. Clear communication about the risks associated with the current permissions model and the steps being taken to rectify it can help build trust with users. Finally, this incident highlights the broader need for continuous vigilance in the tech industry regarding security practices. Regular audits of OAuth implementations and user consent processes should become standard protocol to safeguard against similar vulnerabilities in the future. The lessons learned from this incident could serve as a critical reference point for enhancing security measures across other cloud services as well. If you found this update helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to InfoSec Now for the latest cybersecurity news. Your support really helps us continue building useful content for cybersecurity professionals.